Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks. So did you know that my first ever YouTube video is still available, albeit on a different channel, QuickyBaby WOT rather than QuickyBaby TV. The reason why I switched is because I didn't know how long World of Tanks was going to go on for, and I didn't realize that my channel was going to take off as quickly as it did. It's still here with QuickyBaby Presents Sound Effects. M103 gameplay? Oh my gosh, you're going to get to see gameplay on YouTube? This is outrageous.
Hey guys. QuickyBaby, aka Quick Fingers here.
I sound dead inside already.
European World of Tanks servers, and I'm going to talk to you about the new American heavy tank, the M103.
Oh, listen to me. The confidence in the commentary, the quietness.
On the Mannheim line.
Yep, that's the map. Can you believe how different this map looks now? It doesn't even look anything like it. Yeah. But hey, this video isn't all just a trip down memory lane. The first ever YouTube video I made was on the M103, and the latest YouTube video I ever make will be on the M103 too. And so firstly, let me clarify, this isn't going to be the last ever video I make, but in theory, it will be the last video I made at least until I release one on Friday. Anyway, look, the M103. This is the vehicle that made me want to actually put on the recording. And let me tell you, with that video, if you're wondering why the frame rate looks firstly bad, it's because back in the day, YouTube I think was limited to 30 frames a second. Eventually they put it up to, I think it was like 45 and then 60 you could be able to have. But let me tell you how bad my computer was back then. I was playing, I think it was on a dual core, and trying to record screen capture on a dual core while playing World of Tanks was not a pretty thing. I also had a terrible graphics card. I think I had a 260 or something, which really wasn't doing the business with regards to GTX 260 to be able to record live gameplay, right, at the same time. So what I actually did with that video, and this is such a five-head thing that I did. You know how in World of Tanks you can watch the replay in half speed? Well, that's what I did. I watched the replay in half speed, recorded the video, and then I sped it up by 2 times in the rendering program that I used. So I changed my 15 frames a second that my computer could produce to actually getting 30 frames a second for my first YouTube video. If that is not 5-head, then I don't know what is. And next, a lot of you who maybe want to go and check out that video might be questioning, well, QB, how come the audio sounds okay? Well, I recorded it once in half speed, sped up the video twice to be able to double my frame rate. Bizarre, right? And then I actually recorded the audio in real time and then put it over it. Yeah, that video actually probably ended up taking me way longer than my videos do now, with having a decent PC and having a few thousand YouTube videos under my belt. I think I checked the other day, I might be wrong, but I think it was just a few months ago I released my 2000th YouTube video, at least that are public. There are a few out there that aren't public, that are unlisted, that I have delivered over the years. Probably should delete those before they get leaked somehow. Not that they're bad videos or weird videos or anything. Look, I digress. Let's get back to hand. But it is really bizarre watching that first video to see what 24-year-old, I don't know how old I was then, 24, 25-year-old QuickyBaby was like as a commentator. And I haven't really changed all that much. There are still, like, there are the seeds of what I would become effectively, but just not having the confidence or the, not necessarily the confidence, but the experience in the commentary for those kind of like 2,000 videos. And then here we are now playing the M103. My first ever YouTube video and my latest or last, which way you want to put it, YouTube video as well. So the M103, it's still a banger. It's still a banger to this day. Great damage per minute, 2,400, a tier 10 gun at tier 9 with fabulous heat penetration. I think it's 340 off the top of my head, I'm right. And great standard pen as well of 258. So this thing just delivers 120mm claps to its opponents, and you don't have to hit your opponents too many times for them to certainly add up. And this Progetto is feeling the wrath. We are currently in the gold wars. The Progetto is spamming gold at me, managing to penetrate me twice, but I'm spamming gold right back at them, managing to penetrate them 4 times. So I'm winning the gold wars, at least right now. Hopefully we're going to get a couple more shells in. Any of you who actually watched that video will know that I didn't have any gold rounds loaded in the tank. I still believe that when I was releasing my first videos, that gold rounds weren't available for credits back then. Hence why they have been called gold rounds since then. Now, you might be saying, QB, why don't you just call them premium rounds now? Because I feel like premium rounds are some fluffy words that Wargaming use to try and trick you into not thinking about how expensive they are. And realistically, to be able to afford to fire gold rounds or premium rounds, you have to have a premium count and you have to have premium tanks, unless you want to just spend all day grinding tier 5 with HE rounds to be able to get them. Alright, so we're setting up for an absolute banger of a game here. We're down by 5,000 hit points. We're down by 4 kills. We're down by 6,000 hit points now. It's funny how that can all happen with a few shots, right? And we're looking like this one's going to be very close if we want to come back into this. So I've started off by making the Progetto disappear. And now we're going to turn our attention to the center of this map. We put one into the Lorraine. We're looking for the UDES, find a side shot on the A and BT, who's focusing on shooting the SU-130 PM, and I'm just hoping that I can help out this tier 8 tank destroyer. The Scorpion appears, but I decide to focus the A and BT, and it looks like that one hit. We'll have to take a look in the post-game stats to see if the damage that we saw is different to the damage that we actually dealt. And now, hopefully, we're going to crest on the UDES here. But, oh, it misses by a millimeter, and the A and BT fires another gold round at me. Is this just World of Tanks in 2023? Would QuickyBaby have still continued to play this game or made YouTube videos on it back in early 2012 if I thought this was going to be the case? Well, maybe. Possibly. Who knows? Alrighty then. So, Jagdpanzer 100 attacking the middle. Enemy team up by 5 tanks. Looks like we're about to lose a couple more, maybe down towards the east. But we aren't giving up. And still, after making YouTube videos for over 11 years on this game, I still feel that will to win. You know, that desire inside yourself to say, not today, World of Tanks. Maybe we're down, but we're not out. Down by 5 kills, down by 3,000 hit points, but this Jagdpanzer 100 takes their first damage of the game. The Skoda comes around the corner. We're going to punish them as well. I don't know if I have intuition on this tank. I might not actually have intuition, which is why I didn't switch out the heat round to an AP round, but in retrospect there, I probably should have. Then again, on a tank like this, safe stowage is almost mandatory, so it's quite hard to have a skilled enough loader. And seeing how I'm switching out here and we didn't hear a bell, I don't hear no bell, that clearly means that we don't have intuition. And now we're in the awkward situation where I don't have gold against the Jagdpanzer 100, the very tank that I would like to have that 340 heat pen for. Luckily for me, the Jagdpanzer E100 makes the throw of the year by bum rushing the corner there, failing to be able to take out the Emil 2, and suddenly we are back in this game, albeit still down by 3 tanks. But that means that the enemies don't have many hit points, and look at that team list there. They've got the guns, but they don't have the HP to be able to back it up. Well, they still got more HP than us, but, you know, 1 or 2 shots might be able to change things. So I asked the Emil on my team, Emil, go window, and I pinged the map. Because I thought that if the Emil fell back and went into the window here, that we could create a fabulous crossfire, and maybe the tank destroyers would be able to handle the Vipera. But in retrospect, I think it's a bit of a misplay, because the Emil wouldn't have been able to deal with the mouse. So I get spotted, so I'm predicting that there's going to be somebody just around the corner here. Must be a sneaky tank, something like a Borask or a UDES. Possibly even the Leopard 1, if it's using an exhaust, might be able to get some spots in from here. And there it is. There's the Borask, down to 22 hit points. Unfortunately, they managed to land into me. And I'm going to let you know that you can kind of predict when they're going to come around the corner. They're going to disappear, and we're going to do a count. 4, 3, 2, 1, and... oh, use the force, Luke. I was happy about that. No more Mr. Sneaky Borask. In that kind of a situation, what's the problem with taking a chance? I fire, see if we manage to get the blind shot. If we fail, we pull back around the corner, recover to hopefully be able to go again. What knocked down that post? Was that me from earlier, or was that somebody just shooting it or driving? It couldn't be somebody ghost driving around the corner. Ghosts is what we're going to say, right? So having blind fired that Borask, this game is still neck and neck. The enemies are up by a tank, and unfortunately, they now have double our hit points. Pretty much everyone on my team is a one-shot now, apart from me. And there he is, the UDES right ahead of us, unfortunately pens us with a heat round. Now, UDES doesn't have a heat on its main gun, so that must be the 90mm that the UDES was using. Now puts me down to one-shot some of the time for the Leopard, but it would have to be a very high roll for the STRV-1030 or the Vipera to be able to finish me off. Talking about Vipera finishing me off, unfortunately the Vipera finishes off the very bold Emil, who did some fabulous work in this game, Nico Steele, finally falling to the enemy hands. And now it's just me, a T-103, and an FV-4005 against 3 tanks. And there's the Leopard right ahead of us. They actually get an eye for an eye medal. 1 for 1 there. The Leopard shuts down the T-103 and the T-103 shuts down the Leopard. I'm going to be gunning for this Vipera, who earlier shut down the Emil. I'm loading a heat round without intuition, waiting for him to come around the corner, and I notice there's an STRV behind me. Oh dear, who's he going to pick? Me, or is he going to pick the FV-405? He picks the FV-405. We finish off the Vipera. STRV-1030 is on full hit points here. Now in this situation, I have to spam gold, because he's got 40 millimeters of armor, and I have a 120 millimeter caliber gun, which won't be able to overmatch him unless I hit the top weak point on that tank. But that weak point is so small that heat, on the other hand, unless he angles his armor slightly downwards, will never ricochet. We put 1 in, we put 2 in, and we're not even low rolling in this scenario. So it's looking good for me. I can take a shot from him most of the time. We're going to confidently fire before we spot him. He bounces off us, and we had the STRV right where we wanted them. We're going to finish them off. And we started our YouTube channel with the M103, and we have our latest carry with the M103 as well. Boy, was this a feels-good game. There's something truly special about a tank like the M103 for me, because it's where I all began. And yet, 11 years later, it still feels like a place I want to be. Ladies and gents, I'm going to do a little bit of a thank you to all of you. I don't say this enough, usually about once a year. Usually on my birthday, which is in a couple of weeks. So I'll probably do it again then, but I want to do it again then. I want to do it again now. I really appreciate you all very much. Thank you for putting up with my shenanigans over the last 11 years. I'm humbled. I'm humbled by your support. I can't believe where the channel still is. And I still got a hell of a lot of gas in the tank to give all of you over the future years. So the M103, probably not quite as good as it was back in 2012 when Wargaming replaced the T-34 with the M103 and the T-30 with the T-125. Wouldn't be a QuickyBaby YouTube video unless I explained some of the history of World of Tanks, right? But this all-purpose machine, as long as you can keep your front to your opponents and you avoid getting hit, it's still a banger. So we saw 5,300 damage. We actually dealt 5,700, meaning that I believe we did hit that AMBT for our bonus damage. We get a high caliber here for doing the most damage in the game, and a steel wall for managing to ricochet 2,780 hit points. A lot of that will be all the gold that the enemy spammed. And talk about gold, I spammed it too. I actually lost 5,000 credits this game. So apologies to past QuickyBaby for that. I really should get intuition on this tank, as it's definitely one of the vehicles that benefits from spamming gold more than others. But it's awful to fire gold when you could just switch out in 1.5 seconds and save yourself 5,000 credits. At least against those softly armored targets. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that was my vibe for today. That was my YouTube video for today. Really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And let me know in the comments down below, what was the first YouTube video you saw of my channel? And do you remember what tank it was that I was playing or was being featured? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.